when you give your life to Christ, you're acknowledging, whether you realize this or not, you're wrapped up in this Christ who was before the foundation of the world. Let's use Ephesians chapter 1, verse 10 as a springboard for exploring some heavenly realities of who Christ is and who we are. It says, I have to kind of start with the end of verse 9 because it's such a flow. He's making known to us the mystery of his will, according to his purpose, which he set forth in Christ. So his purposes are all wrapped up in Christ. God the Father's purposes are manifested through his purposes in Christ. That's the centrality. As a plan for the fullness of time. So when the time is right, this is the plan, to unite, to make one. It says elsewhere to reconcile in Colossians. All things in him, things in heaven and things on earth. You see, God's plan is centered, is homed in, is all wrapped up in Christ. And we were chosen in him before the foundation of the world. So the Father sees us, if you like, he's not just looking at you directly, he's looking at you in Christ directly. So your present situation that we can become so obsessed with, that's not how Father first and primarily sees you. He decided, he set up before the foundation of the world that you are in Christ. That's where he will see you. And so in Christ, you have the fullness, everything you need. More than that, you're wrapped up with the life of Christ, in whom everything in heaven on earth will be united. It's like the purpose of God. He starts off this creation with Christ before the creation. There's Christ. His plans are formulated and hidden within Christ. And then out of that, then creation comes. The heavens and the earth. Let there be light. And then you see within that, there's a forming of chaos, like the earth was without form and void. You see that there's a kingdom of darkness. And I don't think that means that's the rulership of Satan. That's the chaos realm, which Satan gets sucked into as well. There's this chaos, this darkness, and there's a creation and things separate. And then his intention is to bring it all back in Christ. So the blood of Christ, it redeems humanity, yes, yeah, for sure. But it's more than that. It reconciles the whole of the heavens and the earth to something glorious where the glory fills everything. And we are caught up in that process. So when you give your life to Christ, you're acknowledging you're wrapped up. Whether you realize this or not, you slowly begin to realize it, like, wow, you're wrapped up in this Christ who was before the foundation of the world and it's now been revealed that his actions on the cross and his resurrection have cosmic significance, and he was with humanity all the way along. He was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, or 10 rather. He was there, he's been there, but it's been veiled, and now it's revealed that Christ, it's all in Christ. And this is unstoppable purpose, plan of God, and you're caught up with it. Here's Paul explaining it again in a different way in 2 Timothy chapter 1. He says the appearing of Christ that's happened has now abolished death. He's Lord over death and he's abolished it, and he's brought life and immortality to light through the gospel, through, that is, Christ and who he is and what he's done in his fullness throughout eternity, as well as in Israel for 30 years. This has had massive impact in the heaven and earth's understanding of reality and the purposes of God. And he's brought to life, he's abolished death, because death comes after Christ, if you like. Christ, the plan is formed in the Father, then creation comes, then death comes because of man's fall. But that's below Christ. He's above that. It came afterwards. And so it has to submit to him through what he does, and he abolishes it. And now he's revealing immortality. That is a life that's not attached to the decay of time, because Christ was there before the formation of the ages. Before the ages, that is time passing, he was there. And that is immortality. That is, there's no decay there. There's no death there. There's not the same type of time which we associate with decay. That's not there. He's revealed immortality. That is ageless. That is not of the ages. Ageless life. And we are caught up with that. And this was God's purpose all along when he saw us through Christ. He's seeing us inside Christ. We are wrapped up with immortality. So if Christ is drawing together everything on the heavens and the earth, we're caught up with that process as well. So you can see how we have to live in both eternity, the heavens, and the earth. We are to be a point where those things start to come together. That's why Jesus said, I pray that the kingdom will come, God's will be done on earth as in heaven. So there's a uniting of the will of the Father in all things. And that's because we're wrapped up in Christ, we're wrapped up in that. So we're learning what prayer is. We're learning what prophetic nature is. We're learning how to form the future with our prayers in him.